Happy Fragrant Friday, Fraghead. Hey everybody, this is Ben here, That Cologne Guy, coming at you with a new review. You know, this channel brings you new content every single Friday, always welcomes you to your weekend, and of course, wishes you a very fragrant Friday indeed. I hope you're doing well, and thanks for checking out this week's episode. You have seen the title and the description. So this week I am taking a look at a sample of Star by Mauboussin. This is my very first review from this house, and I've always wanted to review something from it, so I'm super excited. And let me quickly give a shout out. This was sent in by yet another subscriber, so I really appreciate that. In fact, basically the rest of the year, I have fragrances sent in by subscribers. So thank you so much. I really, really appreciate that. I have enjoyed wearing and rocking this juice all week long. I have just enough left to finish out this review today. So this is a relatively new release. This is a 2024, and it is an Oriental Woody. As I said earlier, this is my very first time with Mauboussin. I don't know much about the house other than I've had a few people reach out and recommend some fragrances to me, and I haven't bought them yet. So I need to get on that. This one very well could be the first one in my collection. So it's called Star. It is for men. I can't speak to the bottle, of course, because it is a sample. But let me get into the notes. I will tell you right now, one thing that I try hard to do in my episodes is I can usually recognize when it smells like another fragrance, but what's really hard for me is to walk you through what it smells like. This one is kind of like that too, because it has a lot of spices in it. There's a ton of cardamom, but I will in saffron. But I would say this one is another one that I like because it's really difficult for me to tell you what it smells like, other than it just smells really great. And I considered that in my rating because it's a very challenging fragrance, not in the challenging sense of like to get you to like it, but I just mean when I read a lot of the notes, like black pepper on Fragrantica, I can definitely say that I would not have come up with many of those notes. On the top, I would have gotten, of course, cardamom, no doubt. In the mid, I got some incense and a lot of saffron. And then in the base, I wrote down amber. I think it was white amber, but amber, vanilla, and a smidge of iris, and then a little cedar. So the other ones listed, I will hold my hand on heart, as the English say, and say I could not have come up with those. And I like that about this fragrance, by the way. Now, what it smells like, this one to me is a combination of at least 4 fragrances. So because I seem to like percentages, I'll do my best. This one to me reminds me of, now I've reviewed Layton, and I'll tell you right now, this is not a dupe or a clone of Layton. It smells like it. It definitely does. I will let the cat out of the bag for all 18 of you and tell you now that I like this one a little bit more than Layton. And then also, I know some of you mentioned that it was similar to Herod from the same house, Parfum de Marly, or was it PDM? So it's like Parfums de Marly. It is the house, and it's niche. It's quite expensive, and so some people had said Herod. I don't know that I would say that. For me, it was more like Layton. So let me just say 33% Layton. I'll say 33% Pure Havane. And then 33% red tobacco. And I noticed that did not come up a lot. And I was surprised because as a proud owner of red tobacco, when the first couple days when I was rocking this, I was walking around the house going, I know I have one that smells like that. And it was eating at me. And then I sprayed red tobacco. And then I thought, yes, this is something similar to it. So to me, it's like 1/3 Layton, 1/3 Pure Havane, 1/3 red tobacco. And again, the astute viewer will say that leaves 1%. I'm going to go ahead and say it's 1% I by Custom National. Now, if you were to say, like, if you look at the note breakdown, you would say that has nothing to do with it. I'm almost correct. I mean, I'm only saying 1%. It has just a little tiny bit of eye by Costume National. Certainly not super similar, but just a little tiny bit in common with it, and I wanted to note that. I would say for me, if I had to say, maybe a little bit more, I'd say Red Tobacco and Layton a little heavier, but I'm going to go with the three of them split, and then I'll add a sprinkling of eye by Costume National. So this one is not a dupe of any of those. It's not a dupe of Pure Havana, it's not a dupe of Layton, and it's not a dupe of Red Tobacco by Mancera. Is it the most original then in the world? No. Does it have to be? It does not, especially at this price point. This is a cheapie. This is a fantastic cheapie. In fact, when I considered the rating, I considered the fact that if I made a cheapie, top 10 cheapie episode, this guy would make it on. Maybe as an honorable mention, but it would definitely make it onto a top 10 cheapie list, especially because, in my estimation, it does lean more unisex. This would be something that I would recommend without reservations as a cheapie unisex fragrance. That's just my take on that, because I really, really enjoy wearing this one. And as I said, I kind of like the fact that it's difficult for me to describe. I mean, it is an oriental woody, but what it smells exactly like is a little difficult to say. You guys just like the fact that I worked in the word woody. Okay, so now, when it past the notes, though, I can't speak to the bottle, but I will say I did look, and this week when I was doing some investigation and research on this, and more than one person said that it is very difficult to spray. It is not ergonomic. If you do have a bottle and you can speak to that, let us know. I decided not to take off dock any points on that because I have a sample, and I would want to test it myself. That said, that would annoy me a little bit. As you guys know, to me, some of these bottles they look nice, but then they're difficult to spray, especially for those of us who get out of the shower. We're just drying off, and then we like to put on fragrance. I don't know. It seems like it's just kind of, a challenge, and we don't want it to be that. If it is, let me know, though. I would be interested if the people online were correct, or maybe they were just a little grumpy. So I'm not going to take off in the rating for that, but I wanted to point that out. Now, again, this one is a cheapie. I saw this anywhere from like $20 to $40 for a full bottle. That is superb when you consider that it smells very much like a niche fragrance. And I don't mean, by the way, that it smells like Layton, like Red Tobacco. Mancera is not really a niche fragrance, but it's pretty close, right? It's a high-end designer, you might say, or maybe low-end niche, whatever you want to go with that. But I really respect the fact that this does smell like a niche fragrance. If you gave this to somebody and said, this is like $250 a bottle, I think some people would not be surprised at all by that. It does have a niche quality feel to it, and for $20 to $40, that's just incredible. And so, props to them and kudos to them. So Mauboussin is pushing all the right buttons thus far. I didn't get any unsolicited or solicited compliments. I didn't get any compliments this week on this one at all. But again, I don't take that into consideration when I give the rating. I just wanted to point that out. Sometimes I do, I was a little surprised that I didn't get anything my way when it came to this fragrance, because it does smell really, really nice, and there's just a very kind of it's like attractive and sexy, but yet very huggable fragrance too. It's extremely versatile, and that's another thing that I really appreciate. Okay, so let's get down to the projection, longevity, and sillage. When it comes to longevity, it's par for course. I would say 6 to 8 hours. You will get a work shift for this. Crawling to the finish line through 8, but I'm totally fine with that. Very happy with the longevity, especially when you consider that, which most people don't. I do walk to and from work. And I'm outside quite a bit. So for me to get 8 hours is great. The projection is, so if I'm looking at 3 feet or 1 meter, it is also quite good. And I'm looking at 4 to 7 hours. I would say that it projects quite well, and that it does get a little bit closer to the skin. But I mean, great, no problems at all. Sillage, coming in out of rooms, walking past people, I feel like I would have liked a little bit more pop to it. I felt like it was more like a 3 to 4 hour, but then again, it could have been that I just got olfactory fatigue and got used to it myself. But it didn't get noticed. And I would say, yeah, let's go like 4 to 5 hours on as far as if you walk past people, it'll get picked up. If you spray it on your shirt, that'll be fine. But I guess par for course, barely, when it comes to sillage. Okay, when it comes to age, I do feel like this has kind of a... I feel like this is so highly versatile. It's just really hard to come up with an age. And I've done that recently on some of these really versatile ones. I almost just kind of bypass age. This would be perfect. I would say... I don't see too many middle schoolers and high schoolers rocking this juice. The interns and above, I would say, so let's go with out of college. I'll go 23 and up will be what you would see this as. I don't know that it's going to be quote unquote uber masculine enough. I don't know that this was maybe a club scent, and that's all I can come up with. So I'm just going to put 23 and up, but frankly, that is really, really just subjective. And I hold my hand up to that. I definitely concede that it is. So now I do want to say though, when it comes to gender, that I feel like this one is a little bit more unisex than the comments that I saw online. I definitely feel that this is a unisex fragrance. I feel like it's pretty much, right down the pipe, maybe slightly leaning more masculine. So as far as people who have this, they own it. It's their signature scent. They wanted this. I'm going to go ahead and do a 66-34 split. And I'll say that 66% or 2/3 of the people will be men. And I think a relatively high percentage for men fragrance will be women. A woman could easily pull this one off. And I will say about 1/3 of all people wearing this as their signature scent, they absolutely love it, would be a woman. So that's 30. So we'll do 66-34. Pretty high percentage on the women's side. But I do feel that it is masculine, leaning masculine, but right in the unisex category. So I was a little surprised on Fragrantica because I think more people said masculine, and what's the last one, like really masculine or something. So I was slightly surprised because when you look at cardamom, saffron, vanilla, amber, iris, I just feel like this would be great. This would be another one of those fragrances where like the bed and breakfast millennial married couple can go for the weekend and wear the same fragrance. So let me know if you and your partner wear the same fragrance every once in a while. That'd be kind of cool. This one would work great for that, by the way. Star by Mauboussin. So let's talk versatility. Versatility to me is fantastic, to the point that if I had to do seasons, I would probably say a fall winter. I think it's I do feel like it leans fall winter, but again, that's just if you're asking me to really give which season I would associate it with. But this is an all year round fragrance. It really is. I just don't really associate it so much with seasons as I do just something that would be great for someone to wear as a daily driver, especially as a cheapie. I mean, you really can't go wrong if you like fragrances on the sweeter / possibly unisex side. I like vanilla. I don't love vanilla. I like iris. I don't love iris. But the iris here is tame. It definitely knows its place, and I found that the vanilla also is present. It's very present, but it's not off-putting or cheap by any means, actually. And I definitely appreciate that about this fragrance. It's a fun one to wear, actually. So again, year-round, highly versatile. You really can't go wrong as far as if you're looking for something leaning masculine. Highly versatile. I can't see anyone being put off by this fragrance. You know what I mean? So, along the same lines of versatility when it comes to day night, I really can't speak to anything other than saying I think this would be great for the office. I think it would be great for happy hour, evening out with friends, and I think it would be great as a date night scent. I just love that about this fragrance, so much so that, in fact, let's get to the rating. So you guys know that usually I will have an easy time, and within minutes I will I will make a rating, and I usually stick to it. This is one that's different. Not radically, though. Not like a couple weeks ago where I went from like a 2 to a 4. This one, to me, at first smell was going to be a 4, a rock solid 4. Every day I kind of waffled between a 4 and a 5 sprays out of 5. I have decided it's really a 4.5, but I don't do half sprays. I am going to round this one up, and I'm going to give this a 5 out of 5, and I'll tell you why. If I had to make a cheapie list, this would be a top 10 cheapie list. This would make it on. If I had to recommend one inexpensive, masculine leaning but unisex fragrance, this would be one, if not the only one, that I would highly recommend to anybody. And I have to consider that. It was a lot of fun to wear. Why would it be a 4? I heard the bottle's difficult to spray. I don't like that. I also, I was a little surprised that I didn't get any feedback whatsoever. But again, so there's kind of two factors there. The fact that this, though, is niche level fragrance for $20 to $40 USD, I have to really consider that, and it's so highly versatile. I love the fact that even though I'm not a huge vanilla fan, it's great vanilla. Again, the iris knows its place. The saffron, the cardamom has a lot of pop to it. I just really like that about this fragrance. It is a 4.5. I could see where a lot of people would give this a 4. I'm going to bump it to a 5, and really the thing that gets me over the hump is the price point. I am considering the fact that it is a fantastic deal, and you guys know me. I love a fantastic deal. I'm also going to consider the fact that this one is not a dupe of anything it smells like. I mean, it's close to Layton. It's close to Pure Havana. It's close to Red Tobacco. Probably closest to Layton of the 3. But again, I like the fact that it would not be superfluous in your collection if you have one. I have Red Tobacco, in fact, in my collection, and I would definitely want this one as well. And then again, I remember I offered just a sprinkling of Eye by Costume National. And so for all those reasons, I went 5 out of 5. I will go 1 on each wrist, 1 on each side of the neck, and 1 on the chest. Boom. Will I have enough? Boom. 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 And boom. All right, there you have it, Star by Mauboussin. Yet another come from behind victory. Maybe I'm getting soft in my old age. Okay, so there you have it, another review by the boards. This was Star by Mauboussin. 5 out of 5 sprays in my rigid rating system. I hope you have a great week. Take care of yourself. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If nothing else, let me know your scent of the day. I always enjoy reading your comments on that. And always remember, my friends, fragrance marks the celebration of today. Take care, everybody. Like, it might not be one that makes them weak in the knees, but then again, I also think it's a quote-unquote safe. It's not maybe the most daring fragrance in the world, but it is something that is safe and could not be off-putting to anybody. I can't see anybody being put off by this fragrance. So 5 out of 5 sprays. I'm also going to consider the fact that in this fragrance, okay, 1, 2, 3. Probably a 4.5 out of 5, but I will bump it up. I have a soft spot in my heart for the price point. You have a great week. Always 1, 2, 3. All right, so there you have it. Another review by the boards. 5 out of 5 sprays by 4 Star by Sprays, stars, 5-star, star, spray by Mauboussin. Okay, that's a blooper. 1, 2, 3. Okay, so there you have it. Another review by the boards. This one was Star by Mauboussin. 5 out of 5 sprays in my rigid, demanding rating system. I really enjoyed this one. I'm sad to see it go. I think I have just a couple sprays left. In fact, why don't I give you guys one just because I love you? Here we go. Boom. There you go. This whole room smells delicious. So unless it's too sweet for you, you will definitely... Okay, 1, 2...